Before we begin Chapter 7, let me remind you of the use of the workbook. On page 12, there's a section which explains the adjective, the various positions, the two attributive positions. Then you see the use of the attributive position. It could be either adjective use, and then there's the explanation of it, agathos, logos, and then the diagramming. I call this to your attention because I'm afraid you may decide, well, I won't mess with the workbook or something. That is explaining exactly what you do with it. Then the noun use, the substantive use of the attributive position, and the next page, the diagramming, page 13, and the way it's done, and then so on through there. Then the predicate position, be, and identification of it, the use of it, the way it's diagrammed, the way it's translated, all of that is there. Now, where I'm headed with this is page 14a, where we have a flow chart. The use of an adjective. Whenever you see an adjective, you have a regular procedure as to how you're going to use it. The positions, the possibilities are predicate and attributive. You have to ask, does the adjective have the article? If the answer is no, then it's predicate position. And then see paragraph 76. That's the exercises for that lesson. Then it says number 1 has one of these, number 10, 13A, 13C, 16A, 19A, 20A, 20B. All through there you can find examples of this usage, and it would help you with your homework as well. This may be just a little bit late, but the workbook does that. I mean, it's a little bit late for this chapter, since you already have your homework done, don't you? In any case, use the workbook. Make sure you follow it step by step, and it will help you in understanding Machen. Now to Chapter 7, page 39 of Machen, and workbook, page 15 and following. We'll look at the vocabulary first. Angelos, an angel or messenger. Angelos. Notice I said not agelos, but angelos. If two gammas are together, or a gamma comes before either a gamma, kappa, or he, then it will be the N sound for the first gamma. So, angelos, an angel. In fact, we transliterate that into English, A-N-G, not A-G-G, but A-N-G, because of that phenomena with the gamma. Then, ago, I lead. Apo, with the genitive, from. Valo, I throw, cast, or put. Valo. That's like a ball, C-A-B-A-L-L. I throw a ball. Valo, I throw. The a with the genitive, through, and with the accusative, on account of. We'll talk about what that means with the particular case. Is, with the accusative, into. Ek, it's also X before vowels, with the genitive, out of. En, with the dative, in. Theos, the word for God. Cosmos, the world. Lithos, a stone. Mathetes, a disciple. Meno, I remain. Meta, with the genitive, with the accusative, after. Uranos, heaven. Pembo, I send. Now, pembo is a little bit different. You see the me, p there? When me and p come together, it makes a b sound. So it's not pempo, but pembo. The p is a b sound. Pembo. Pembo, I send. Pros, with the accusative, toward or to. Prophetis, it is a prophet. Teknon, a child. Topos, a place. And phero, I bear or I bring. That's the vocabulary. Now, he says in paragraph 78 that nouns of the first declension ending in is are masculine. Well, that looks a little strange because you have an eta sigma, and that's a masculine. So you have two words like that in this session, in this lesson. You'll see them, mathetes, the third one in the second column of vocabulary, mathetes, a disciple. Prophetes, a prophet. Now, the only way I can remember this, or one way you could remember it, would be that the disciples and the prophets ran around in those long robes, and even though they looked feminine, they were really masculine. So the word mathetes and prophetes are are masculine, even though they look feminine. Now, the forms are in paragraph 79. the forms of prophetis and mathetes will follow the same thing. You see that there's the eta sigma there in the nominative. The genitive is ou, just like you would expect for a masculine noun. And then we go on with the same forms as in the feminine. So it's is, ou, ein, and then the plural is the same, eon, es, as. We had this in a previous page of the workbook, on page 9 of your workbook. Just go to that, look at it, and you'll see prophetis there, and then the plural is the same as all as ora, doxa, and graphi. Now the prepositions, you'll see in paragraph 80, the preposition expresses relationship. Now the workbook, I've given you a definition, page 15. A preposition is a part of speech which expresses the relationship between one substantive and another. So that's what a preposition is supposed to do. Express relationship between one part of speech or one substantive and another. The book is on the desk. Now the book and desk are the two substantives. The book is on the desk. It isn't under, it isn't around, it's on the desk. So the preposition will give us that relationship. Now, we said that the preposition would take certain, he says in the vocabulary, apo with the genitive, from. And others have said the with the genitive, the with the accusative. What he means by that is that these prepositions take certain cases as their object. So when the has the genitive, it means through, has the genitive as the object. When it has an accusative as the object, it will mean the will be on account of. Now, we're going to see this in the flip chart, the way this works. This is just a little circle which would show some of the spatial prepositions. Now, the dative, in paragraph 81, 82, in Machen, you'll see he talks about the dative being the case of rest in the place. Accusative is the case of motion toward, and the genitive is the case of going from, so the case of separation. So the accusative, motion toward, the dative, rest in a place, and the genitive is the case of separation. So you'd expect then for one that means into, is, you expect is to mean to be with the accusative. Is, motion, or going into. Pros, toward. Pros, toward, there, you'd be with the accusative as well. En means in, so that would be the case of rest in a place. Ek means out of, that's separation, so ek would be with the genitive. Through, the with the genitive, with the accusative, genitive is through, so the then, through. The through, and from, apo, from, separation. So we'll be putting other prepositions in here in this circle as we go along, and we'll refer back to this at other times. So remember that, the accusative, the case of motion toward, dative, rest in a place, genitive, the case of separation from, according to Machen's paragraphs 80, 81, 82. Now, we need to look also at the way we're going to test these prepositions. In the workbook on page 15b, you see a page where we have some of the prepositions listed, and we're going to have more of those as well. You see in, we have in with the dative in. So if I give you a little quiz, it would be, I'd have all the prepositions listed here that we have, and then blanks out here, and you would simply put the meaning under the particular case which that preposition takes. So you see in takes the dative, so you put the meaning there, in. The takes either the genitive or the accusative. When it takes the genitive as its object, then it would be through. When it takes accusative as its object, it would be on account of. So those are the, we'll be filling others in. In fact, you ought to fill in all of those that we have so far. Just fill them right in, and put the meaning where it goes there. You may want to type that in, be just as neat as this fine typing is here. Now, in the workbook, we have at the bottom of page 15 the method for diagramming. The only new thing we have here is the diagram. Where do you put it? How do you show the relationship between one thing and another? And for now, all of our prepositional phrases will be adverbial, meaning that they will be diagrammed under the verb. Until further notice, every preposition you get, the prepositional phrase will be diagrammed under the verb. If you had in, and then as we have it in the workbook, Cosmo, or Cosmo, make that Cosmo. Cosmo, in Cosmo, and then to, of course, is the article. The disciples are remaining in the world. Now, disciples and world, where are they in relation to the world? They are in the world. So that's showing relationship. Diagram all prepositional phrases under the verb. They are adverbial. Now, in your homeworks, you'll see that he's going to bring in many diagrams of many prepositions for you to diagram in the exercises. And I want to call your attention in page 43 of Machen to one footnote. Now, he's referring to sentence number 4. Notice he says, the man is saying a good word to the disciples and is leading the disciples to the Lord. Now, this should cause you to have a little question about the word to. Remember, we can say in English, to, as a translation of the dative, to the disciples. Or you can use it, in this case, as pros with the accusative. Now, which is it going to be? Well, his answer is this. Care should be taken to distinguish the two ways in which the English word to is used in this sentence. Well, that's fine. Let's take care to distinguish, but how are we going to do that? So we have two options then. The options are, when we have the word to, we will translate it either with a dative, or to equaling pros. Pros with the accusative. Now, the question is, which will it be? Little rule of thumb I think we can use is this, that if it means for the benefit of, if the to means for the benefit of, it will be dated. If it means motion toward, then it will be pros with the accusative. So if you have the word to in English, in your English sentence, and you wonder how shall I translate it into Greek? If the idea of the to is for the benefit of, translate it with the dative. If the idea of the to is motion toward, translate it pros with the accusative. Now let's look at that and see how it works in that particular sentence. The man is saying a good word to the disciples. Now, that is not motion toward. That is for the benefit of. And he is leading the disciples to the Lord. Now, that's not for the benefit of, that's motion toward. See? So go through there and make that test of all the words to, T-O, and see if you can get that squared away in your mind. Keep that in mind, that it's for the benefit of is a dative, motion toward is pros with the accusative. Now, that takes care of our chapter 7. The only new thing we received here was prepositions. And so do your translation of those, diagram, translate. You always have 10 Greek to English and then 5 of the English to Greek. You can do extras, you know. You can do extra credit, as we've indicated to you on previous times. Do extra credit, and you can get that added onto your grade for the homeworks and therefore for the course. After you finish those, then we'll go on to lesson 8.